Well, good morning, afternoon, evening to everybody. And my name is Maggie, and I am gratefully and gracefully recovering compulsive overeater, and I weigh and measure 3 meals a day from the Gray Sheet. I turn those meals over to my sponsor. I don't eat between my meals no matter what, and a day at a time I put my program and my abstinence first. And I have done that since July 27th, 1990. And please forgive me. This is hard for me because I'm very nervous because I'm 68 now and I get lost and I forget what I'm saying. I lose track and I'm not as articulate as I used to be 10 years ago. So I've made some notes and I hope you'll bear with me if I have to read them sometimes. Now, let's see. I say I am gracefully recovering because I no longer binge or compulsively fast or semi-starve. That was the way I did it. I eat peacefully, beautifully, neatly, and gratefully. My food is truly wonderful and delicious. I need to say that because I was broken around the food. But because of Gray Sheet, I can actually say that I enjoy food. It is no longer the enemy, and food was the enemy. I tried to control my eating with therapy, many different kinds of therapy, hypnosis, drinking alcohol, smoking, an endless litany of diet, which you all know, Atkins, Stillman, the Diet Center, Nutrisystem, not once, not twice, the second time I worked there and did their ads. Little squares of sugar carbohydrates that you drink with a hot drink before your meals. I ate those, boxes of those over and over again. I did liquid protein fasts once for 6 months. I did speed and shots in pill form, and I did every diet craze that came down the pike that was in the magazines or in the medical community. Round citrus diet, round green-headed vegetable soup diet, Hollywood fruit diet, on and on ad nauseum. I also have to say that I even tried what is now called I think it's called intuitive eating, figuring out what your body is hungry for and then lovingly feeding it that. And when I discovered that my body was intuitively hungry for stale, moldy carbohydrates and protein, I quit that. I'm going to do a little bit of show and tell here. These pictures are me in my 20s. I am somewhere around 200 pounds here, and I'm smoking and drinking, and the food is just off camera. And I have no pictures of myself just before I came into Gray Sheet. I came in, I don't know, my face kind of shows it. I came in at 200 pounds. I believe that the logistics are important because I looked this up on Google this morning. The percentage of individuals who lose weight and successfully maintain the loss has been estimated to be as small as 1 to 3%. Now, I came into Gray Sheet at age 35 in New York City at Jan Hus Church, and I was somewhere around, I stopped weighing at 210. And I'm 68 and about 142 pounds now. So I've maintained a 70-pound weight loss for 33 years. And at 68, it's pretty good. And I have to say that the physical recovery was desperately important to me. The physical recovery was I couldn't stand the body that I lived in. I wanted to tear my skin off when I was fat. And the physical recovery was the key to my emotional and mental recovery, which was the key to my spiritual recovery, which is, whatever spirituality I have. And for me, my sense of spirituality comes from this program and its power. And I have a commitment to this program and the people in it, who I call my God with skin on. And I have a
That's been
commitment.
5 minutes.
Thank you, Sarah. And I have a commitment to doing this no matter what. No matter what. I never heard that until I came into these rooms. And well, I've had a lot of no matter what's in 33 years. And when I qualify, I generally go into my eating history here. You know, I was a fat baby and a fat child, and I was put on diet pills when I was 6. I hit 200 pounds for the first time when I was 14, and that started a yo-yo for years and years and years. And my life was literally entirely about whatever diet I was on and the binging that inevitably followed. There was really, for me, there was no in between. I was either in the, you know, that kind of psyched up high of the new diet or the new fast, or I was binging uncontrollably. And when I ate massive quantities. I'm talking about 2 or 3 dinners. I'm talking about a dozen round sugared carbohydrates in a matter of minutes. I once gained 50 pounds in a month. And I really believe that if it were not for the periods of fasting and restrictive eating, I could easily have weighed 400 pounds or more. So that's, you know, the snapshot, but I'm going to go get off of that this time. And because 33 years of no matter what has been so important to me, I'm going to try a different tack this time and just talk about a few of the no matter what's that I've been through. And these are in no kind of sequential or chronological order. It's just what I came up with this morning. Now, I traveled overseas long before the internet and cell phones and TripAdvisor and Airbnb and all of the things that we have now. I went to Egypt to teach Shakespeare and voice and speech at the American University in Cairo for 6 weeks in 1994, and that was my 4th year of abstinence. And because I didn't know what to expect, I figured out just how much food I'd need to have every meal over there abstinently for 6 weeks. I figured out exactly how many fruits I'd need. I figured out how much vegetable sawdust and round kernels of protein substitute I'd need for every single meal for 6 weeks. And so I went with 5 quite large suitcases, and 3 of them were filled with food. One was filled with the largest red round fruits I could find, enough for 6 weeks worth of breakfast. And this was in 1994. Nobody ever opened my bags, and I don't even remember paying any extra luggage fees. I turned my food over by writing postcards to my sponsor, and it did end up that the food was plentiful, and even fairly easy over there because I stayed in a luxury hotel while I was teaching, and I didn't need all that backup, but I had it. Let's see, I was a university professor at 6 universities, but every time I switched jobs, I had to fly to a different city and weigh and measure at numerous job interviews for these university positions. And I would juggle plates and sawdust and protein equivalents while discussing my plans for tenure and what classes I would teach. On one trip to a very small college that required a very, very small plane, my bag with my scale, my food, and my teaching materials was accidentally left behind until the next morning. And when I landed, I had to ask to be taken to 2 different stores to get a scale and some backup. And fortunately, I had already eaten 2 meals and I only needed dinner, but the university professor that they had assigned to schlep me around watched in dismay as he finished, and needless to say, I didn't get that job. And at another interview with the head of a department and 2 other professors, we went to a Thai restaurant. And I don't know how many of you have been to a Thai restaurant, but it's notoriously difficult to get anything without sauce or sugar in it or on it. and I had to send everything back more than once. And eventually I just ended up eating my food surreptitiously out of my purse while they talked about the classes I would be expected to teach. Now, I did get that job and I proceeded to teach there for 14 years, but nobody ever invited me to dinner at their house.
That's been another 5 minutes.
Thank you. Um, let's see. I weighed and measured through changing jobs 7 times and moving through 6 different states. I've weighed and measured through the deaths of my mother and grandmother and the suicide of my father. I have weighed and measured through the deaths of my half-brother and my half-sister on the same day from a heroin overdose. I've weighed and measured through major depression and being diagnosed with bipolar and having a breakdown. And I'm happy to say that because Grey Sheet is my foundation, I have now been healthy, happy, stable for a number of years through therapy and help from the medical community and medication. And as I say, it's been the foundation. And medically, I've weighed and measured through 2 total knee replacements, and I'm about to have a hip replacement. Getting old is not for sissies. I've had 4 colonoscopies, any number of illnesses. Relationship-wise, I've weighed and measured through a second marriage, 2 long-term relationships, and now a 3rd wonderful marriage to my amazing wife, who also happens to be a Grey Sheeter. And I believe she qualified for you not too long ago. And we have a wonderful abstinent kitchen, and it's great. And if you heard her story, you know that it is an amazing journey she's been on. When I came into Grey Sheet, I was a wannabe actress. I was bouncing futilely around New York, unable to audition because of my disease. But well, thanks to Grey Sheet, I've had an amazing career as a teacher. And I took early retirement in 2011 as a tenured full professor. I taught at 6 different universities, including Cornell, and I moved through 6 states, working my way up the ladder of academia, because I got abstinent in New York City for the first 3 years. And that was my foundation. But once I moved out of New York City, I have been an outpost ever since. In all the states I have been to, I come from regular OA, and I want to put that program kept me together until I could find Grey Sheet. But ultimately, it didn't work for me. But I did visit those rooms as I passed through on my way west. And I did say the mantra, and I guess I want to put a pitch in for carrying the message, because I believe that's important. And yeah, when I said my mantra, sometimes I would attract someone who was as desperate and in as much agony as I was. And I have to say that I do service work. I sponsor. The main form of service work that I did for all of these years has been to sponsor.
1 minute.
1 minute. Okay, let me wrap this up. And I believe that service work and somehow carrying the message is one of the things that has kept me abstinent and grateful. And I'll just end saying my life at 68, I'm about to be 69, is pretty amazing. And I'm very grateful. And none of it would have been possible without Gray Sheet. And I keep using the word foundation because that has been my foundation. And with that, I'll end, and I look forward to hearing from you. And thank you so much for inviting me to speak.